Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the IndusInd Bank Limited Q4 FY21 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sumant Kathpalia, Managing Director and CEO, IndusInd Bank. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good evening, good morning to people in the US. First of all, my apologies for the delay in the call. This was due to the technical issues which we faced in uploading of the file to the exchanges. We had to have a press meet and then we are starting with the investor call, so my apologies for that. Thank you for joining this call. I will start with some macro commentary and then go into the bank-specific details. At the macro level, as you all know, India is going through the second wave of COVID-19 currently. The economy was showing a healthy recovery to pre-COVID levels until the sharp surge of cases in April. All three sectors of the economy, farm, manufacturing and services, showed good traction in quarter 4. The second wave of COVID-19 is likely to impact the economic recovery in near term. However, considering the vaccination drive at large scale and strategy to focus on local and regional lockdowns and micro-containment zones as opposed to a national level lockdown, the impact on economic activity is believed to be limited and less severe compared to 2020. That has been the international experience too with the second wave. In our assessment, of the current restriction, we now see a full year GDP growth at 10.4% from 11% estimated earlier on a back of a slower quarter 1. Scaling up of the vaccination drive from quarter 1 would eventually help deal with pandemic. The measures announced by the government and continued accommodative policy by RBI will support the overall economic growth. Now coming back to bank-specific commentary. I completed my first year as CEO in March. We faced some internal and external challenges during the year. I can proudly say that the bank has come out stronger from these challenges. If we look at some parameters indicating the health of a bank, they are at their best levels in the last several years, if not the decade. We closed the year with capital adequacy ratio of 17.38%, surplus liquidity of 40,000 crores, credit deposit ratio below 85%, and strong traction on retail deposits, PCR at 75% with significant buffer provisions outside PCR, operating profit margins at 6% of loans, all at the best levels in the last few years. Coming to quarter 4, and during the quarter we focused on continued deposit mobilization. Our deposits saw handsome growth of 7% quarter-on-quarter and 27% year-on-year. This was led by strong growth in CASA of 11% quarter-on-quarter. The growth was driven by retail segment, resulting in a retail as per LCR growth of 9,900 crores during the quarter. This was in spite of 50 basis point reduction in the headline rates. Our cost of deposits fell by 31 basis points during the quarter and year-to-date cumulative by 102 basis points. We continue to maintain comfortable excess liquidity with overall LCR at 145%. Asset growth. All three domains, vehicle, diamond and microfinance, saw strong disbursements during the quarter. Vehicle disbursement grew 30% year-on-year and 8% quarter-on-quarter, driven by pickup in commercial vehicles. Diamond demand globally saw good recovery, resulting in working capital drawdown from us as well. Microfinance too resumed a growth journey with 15% quarter-on-quarter growth. On the corporate book, we have been reducing exposures in line with our strategy of granularizing the loan book. We have largely achieved our sell-down objectives and the portfolio hereon should start showing growth. We remain cautious on unsecured loans. Overall loan growth for the quarter was 3% quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year. Asset quality. Our collection efficiency improved to 98% from 97% during the quarter. Of this, secured assets have higher collection efficiency and unsecured have lower collections than average. Our retail portfolios, including unsecured, saw reduction in slippages. Corporate saw technical slippages where restructuring was under implementation as of March and some of them are already upgraded. Corporate slippages adjusted for such technical cases were also down quarter on quarter. We have followed a conservative provisioning approach. We maintained our PCR at 75% despite technical NPAs in corporate. We have conservatively taken 100% provision on unsecured assets, including microfinance, even though we are already seeing recovery. We have also increased our surplus COVID provision outside the PCR from 966 crores to 1,600 crores or 0.8% of loans during the quarter. Overall, loans-related provisions are 3.3% of the loan book. I will share further details later. Strong profitability of the franchise. Our NII grew 9% year-on-year and 4% quarter-on-quarter. Our NIM was stable at 4.13%. Our fee reached pre-COVID levels in quarter four, driven by strong retail fees. Retail fees crossed 1,000 crores per quarter for the first time ever. Our revenues were up 6% YOY, while costs were up 2% YOY, driving operating profit growth of 10% year-on-year. Our revenues have now settled comfortably above 5,000 crores per quarter. This has helped in improving a strong operating margin to 6% of loans despite lower corporate fees versus the past. Scaling up of new growth areas. We continue scaling up our affluent, NRI and SME segments. Affluent AUM crossed 50,000 crores, including deposits of 30,500 crores, growing 5% quarter-on-quarter and delivered a fee in the quarter of 100 crores. NRI liabilities grew 9% quarter-on-quarter to 25,800 crores. We have also added 100,000 merchants by leveraging Bharat Financial network during the quarter. We have resumed our branch expansion, adding 100 bank branches and 40 BFIL outlets during the quarter. We will continue to invest in existing as well as new business to drive our growth. Capital adequacy. During the quarter, our capital adequacy was augmented by promoter warrants conversion of 2,000 crores at 1,709 per share, implying a significant premium to market price. This demonstrates promoters' steadfast commitment to the bank and belief in the management team. The warrant subscription and lower risk intensity boosted our CRAR to 17.38%. Before I go into portfolio-specific summary, broadly on slippages and restructured book. During the quarter, we had business as usual and also technical slippage as detailed in the investor presentation. Our business as usual slippages were 1,930 crores during the quarter, which is lower than the pro forma slippages of 2,500 crores last quarter. The technical slippages were 1,899 crores. Out of this, 1,602 is already reflected in deductions as they have become standard and the balance is happening also this quarter. The technical slippages occurred due to delay in closing the restructuring by consortium and also temporary operational issues which were rectified in the same quarter. Bulk of these technical slippages came from two groups highlighted in earlier calls. One in retail and the other in the construction industry, where resolution is under judicial process. Further details are shared in the investor presentation and we can discuss this in the Q&A. We also recognize performance slippages of 2,508 crores of quarter 3 as the NPA sanctions were lifted by the Honorable Supreme Court. On restructured book, our restructured book was at 3,737 crores and stayed stable at 1.8% of loans as of March 2021. However, the mix of this book has improved towards long vintage vehicle finance customers. During this quarter, we saw a few corporates opting out of restructuring. However, due to COVID second wave, some additional vehicle customers out of caution opted for MSME restructuring, which was available till 31st March. Segment-wise contribution of this 1.8% would be vehicle 65%, non-vehicle retail 17%, and the balance from corporate banking. Now coming to individual businesses. Vehicle finance. Quarter 4 saw strong traction on disbursements across the vehicle categories. Overall disbursements grew 30% YOY and 8% quarter on quarter. As expected, commercial vehicles bounced back nicely during the quarter. The disbursements grew up by 54% year-on-year and 44% quarter-on-quarter. This segment too now has crossed pre-COVID levels. Our other noticeable segments showing strong disbursements were cars up 24% year-on-year, utility vehicles up 29% year-on-year, tractors up 44% year-on-year, and construction equipment 2x year-on-year. We remain cautious on three-wheelers due to low passenger freight and disbursements are much lower than historical run rates. This segment, however, forms small part of the book. The overall loan group grew by 7% year-on-year and 1% quarter-on-quarter. We had low disbursements in the first half of the year. As the disbursements have now reached pre-COVID levels, they will start reflecting in the loan book growth from next quarter onwards and subject to how COVID plays out. Collections in the vehicle portfolio are slightly lower than the pre-COVID levels. The portfolio has consistently maintained its excellent track record and market leadership in all segments we operate in. In fact, almost 25% of the gross NPA customers are today at less than 60 DPD, but they will remain in NPA till all dues are cleared. We have seen higher flows in two-wheelers and three-wheelers where livelihoods are impacted by COVID. These are typical service providers like auto, newspaper delivery, etc. who lost earnings. We allow these customers to slip into NPA and recovery should come out as COVID plays out. Restructuring was invoked on 2,446 crores of portfolio. This was maybe ahead by 200 crores against our earlier expectations. The MSME restructuring was available 31st March and due to onset of COVID second wave, we saw some more customers availing this facility out of caution. We have long vintage and strong collateral covers in this segment and eventual losses should be range bound. While the lockdown poses a risk to freight transport, this segment has demonstrated to be the first one to bounce back as the economy reopens. Exceptions of strong GDP growth this year and budget announcements on scrappage policy and infrastructure spend augurs well for the vehicle industry. Microfinance. This is another area of domain expertise and has proved its mettle in yet another crisis. Incremental slippage during this quarter was 298 crores or 1.2% of loans. Performance slippages in the quarter were 472 crores or 2% of loans. So overall, the slippages of around 3% are lower than what we expected at the start of the year. We have also seen recovery from performance slippages of quarter 3 and this trend is continuing. Eventual credit losses thus should be lower than expectations. We have conservatively fully provided for all these NPAs. We remain watchful of any impact of COVID second wave and restrictions in some parts of the country. Overall collection efficiency in April is lower by 1% compared to March. This should bounce back as the restrictions are relaxed. We have seen similar trends in September last year when a few states have reimposed lockdown. Strong traction on collections also enabled our field staff to align towards growth. We saw loan book growth of 9% year-on-year and 15% quarter-on-quarter. Loan book originated post initial lockdown now contributes 81% of total book and has normal collection efficiency of over 99%. This is a key metric to watch as the old book is running off and the traction on fresh disbursements imply improvement in the overall quality of the book in the next few months. We are now fast-tracking our synergy initiative which took a backseat due to COVID onset. We are driving savings account and record deposit penetration into microfinance customer base. We have crossed 51,000 Bharat Money stores and will scale this up further during the year. These financial transaction points across India will add meaningfully to the financial inclusion agenda that we are pursuing through BFIL and ensuring easy access of financial products to rural India. We are also leveraging our BFIL presence in Tier 1 to Tier 3 cities for merchant acquisition. We have onboarded 170,000 merchants through assisted digital route and are scaling this up to at 30,000 merchants per month. The product offers a seamless bank account, working capital and payment solutions. Overall, we are much more comfortable on the microfinance than we were 6 to 12 months back. While like any other segment, COVID remains a key risk out here as well. Another good year expected for monsoons, rural spend by government adds to a comfort look. Other retail assets. This contributes 17% of the overall loan book and includes secured and unsecured retail assets. In quarter 3, we had seen secured assets showing range-bound slippages, whereas credit card slippages slightly worse than expectations. In quarter 4, the secured assets have maintained the traction while collections improved in the unsecured assets. In credit card, the resolution and rollover rates are better than pre-COVID levels. We also saw credit card spend crossing 5% market share for the first time against a credit card market share of 2.4%. Collectively, these indicate good improvements in the quality of spend and cards. We are fortifying our retail asset origination team. There is, however, strong competition for secured retail assets in the market, and the rates offered may not justify risks onboarded. As the interest rates are seen to be bottoming out, we expect pricing sanity to return. We have been selective in our underwriting both for pricing as well as COVID concerns. We are meanwhile growing our new growth drivers. Affordable housing disbursements grew 10% quarter-on-quarter and loan book grew to 1,800 crores, up 36% year-on-year and 8% quarter-on-quarter. We have reactivated our gold loan business in 400 branches and this will be scaled up in coming months. The pilots on merchant loans through IBL as well as BFIL contribution is also showing promising results. Overall, we expect secured assets to resume growth, whereas unsecured to remain capped at 5% of the loan book. The asset quality trends are now at pre-COVID levels. Corporate Bank. I had outlined my approach of fine-tuning the corporate underwriting towards granular, secured and annuity-based exposure. We created an empowered intervention through independent portfolio management unit. The transition to achieve this has been smooth and non-disruptive. In line with our strategy, we sold down exposures worth 3,500 crores during the quarter. Overall, in the year, we have reduced exposure of 9,000 crores beyond the scheduled repayments. These exposures didn't meet the concentration criteria and there was no credit issue as such. We have broadly achieved our objectives and this exercise should be completed in the current quarter. Another focus was granularizing the corporate fee. We focus more on annuity fee rather than one-off transactional fee. Trade and FX fee now account for more than 2/3 of the corporate fee. Investment banking fees were subdued due to weak market conditions as well as selective focus. Overall corporate fee adjustment too is complete and here on they should broadly grow in proportion to their loan book contribution. We have disclosed a few additional data points in the investor presentation showcasing improvement in portfolio quality. This shows traction on aligning corporate book towards higher rated, shorter duration and granular portfolio. Average rating of profile has improved during the year. Our business as usual slippages was only 336 crores during the quarter. As explained earlier, we also had accounts aggregating to 1,900 crores which were under restructuring or had technical issues. Bulk of these accounts are already standard with completion of formalities. Restructuring trends in the corporate book was quite positive. In quarter 3 call, we had highlighted restructuring of 2,200 crores which was in vogue and under implementation. We saw significant part of these clients withdrawing from restructuring as the business momentum picked up comfortably in quarter 4. This resulted in restructured book falling significantly to around 654 crores as of March 21. This shows resilient portfolio performance even in the current stress time. None of the restructured books are in sub-investment grade. Portfolios in the sensitive segments such as real estate, NBFCs continue to behave well with no restructuring or SME2 accounts. A bulk of the realignment of the corporate book is now complete. All the segments are geared to participate in the economic revival. Growth will of course follow the revised underwriting approach institutionalized by the bank. We are extending our philosophy of building domains to corporate banks as well. We are identifying segments such as MNC, education, healthcare, NBFCs, where we will build specialization. This would help us give better risk-adjusted returns over long term. We have also tactically looking at co-lending opportunities with lenders in secured retail space. Gems and jewelry. This segment is an example of specialization in corporate banking. We continue to see no NPAs or even SMA2 customers here. There was no restructuring invoked. Global diamond demand has bounced back to the pre-COVID levels. We expect the momentum to continue for a while. This has resulted in strong demand for Indian diamond manufacturers. On diamond loan book, our diamond loan book had shrunk in the first half as the working capital utilization went down due to weak global demand. You saw utilization levels in Q4 improving in tandem with the global upcycle. This book grew 15% quarter-on-quarter and should show decent growth in the coming quarter. Overall, on the asset side, we saw strong growth in disbursement in the areas of domain expertise, vehicles, microfinance, and diamonds. These portfolios have better early delinquency profile versus the industry, and we have disclosed product-wise trend in the investor presentation. We are positioned to participate in other retail assets provided we get good risk-adjusted returns. Corporate book adjustments are now behind us and should start showing growth every quarter. We are watchful of the COVID second wave and its impact on the overall economy. We are, however, as of now comfortable with the PC5 growth ambitions stated earlier. Now coming to liabilities. We saw acceleration in the deposit traction during the quarter. Deposits grew 7% quarter-on-quarter, driven by 11% quarter-on-quarter growth in current and savings accounts. Retail deposits as per LCR also grew by 8% and achieved over 9,900 crores per quarter run rate. This was despite the 50 basis point cut in the headline deposit rate. With strong deposit flows ahead of the loan growth, our CD ratio further improved to 83% from 87% quarter-on-quarter. Our cost of deposit reduced further by 31 basis points during the quarter and 102 basis points cumulatively during the year. We will look for another round of rate cuts in the coming months and comfortable acquisition momentum despite the rate cut. Our retail fee crossed the pre-COVID levels. This was in fact the best ever quarter for retail fees in our history. We saw good momentum in the distribution fee along with loan processing fee on the back of strong disbursements. We have also resumed branch expansion, opening 100 branches during the quarter. We aim to add another 250 branches during the year. Our affluent business continued strong performance. Our deposits from this segment grew 8% quarter-on-quarter to 31,300 crores and AUM growth of 8% quarter-on-quarter to 50,900 crores. This business has also achieved the fee of 100 crores per quarter for the first time. Our NRI business grew to 25,766 crores, up 9% quarter-on-quarter or 32%. Our market share improved from 1.9% to 2.3% during the year. Market share was around 8% on incremental flows during the year. This was despite no NRI homecoming and also fall in remittances this year due to COVID. Borrowings have been selectively focused on longer tenor and attractive rates. An example of this would be recent funding from Proparco, a French development financial institution supporting our microfinance business. This is a 7-year facility at a very competitive pricing. We have maintained our overall LCR at 145% and running surplus cash balance and excess investment of over 40,000 crores. Technology. IT in IndusInd Bank continues to be the backbone supporting business and growth ambitions. The bank has made several significant steps in improving client experiences, including an all-in-one store in its mobile app, video branch, video KYC, WhatsApp and Alexa-based servicing supported by natural language processing. IndusInd deployed a large-scale work-from-home setup for about 15,000 staff, including email on cloud with video collaboration. Several other digital applications now run off the cloud. The bank has adopted the highest standards of client data and transaction security. With a range of modern and sophisticated security tools, bank has not faced security breaches and it has been careful about controls and data protection, supported by threat intelligence. Recently, the bank has successfully implemented an early warning signal, which is an AI-based set of algorithms which measures the impact or risk to accounts, assimilating various market data and internal bank data. Digital traction. Our registered user base on the mobile app increased by 39% during the year. We were ahead of the industry in terms of transaction growth. User base on emerging channels such as WhatsApp banking increased 3x to 2.3 million and is at par with large peer private banks. Bank is steadily moving on its digitally active user base showed an improvement by 10% during the year on its percentage of mobile active user base. The digital platforms of the bank have started contributing to business during the year. Bank acquired nearly 2 lakh client account non-assisted and completely digital via online journeys undertaken by clients who visited the platform on the back of platform marketing, contributing 15% of the liability account acquisition. Bank is also launching a few new initiatives, including an end-to-end digital personal and SME loan and also a unified merchant solution app. Overall, on the liability side, we have maintained traction across the board along with reducing cost of deposits. We will continue to calibrate our rate cut strategy going forward. Share of retail deposits as per LCR has improved to 38% from 31% during the year. Retailization of deposits remains the cornerstone of our PC5 strategy. Now coming to the financial performance of the quarter. Quarter 4 witnessed a steady operating performance with NII up 9% year-on-year and operating profits at 3,129 crore, which was up by 10% year-on-year. Our PPOP by loans improved to 6%. Net interest margin was stable at 4.13%. Our yield on assets fell by 19 basis points and cost of deposit funds fell by 20 basis points quarter-on-quarter. We carried 100,000 crores. We carried 10,000 crores of higher liquidity during the quarter and also had an impact on NIM. Other income grew by 8% quarter-on-quarter and crossed pre-COVID levels due to momentum in core fees of 9% quarter-on-quarter, driven largely by retail fees. Retail fees at 1,015 crores grew 3% quarter-on-quarter and crossed pre-COVID levels by 10% year-on-year growth. Operating costs were up by 2% year-on-year and but inched up 5% quarter-on-quarter. Our cost to income ratio improved slightly to 41%. Now coming to provisions. Our provision for the quarter was 1,866 crores. We continue to follow conservative provisioning approach. We have fully provided for unsecured retail and microfinance loans. Our GNPA has reduced to 2.67% from pro forma GNPAs of 2.93% last quarter, and net NPA was stable at 0.69%. We have maintained our PCR at 75% despite some technical NPAs in corporate. We have around 1,600 crores or 0.8 of loans as surplus COVID provisions not accounted for in the PCR. We sold down some delinquent portfolios during the quarter. They were already very well provided and resulted in increase of the net security received by 20 basis points quarter-on-quarter. Total loan-related provisions are 3.3% of loans or 122% of the gross NPA. Our overall provision for the full year 21 was at 3.7% of the loan book. Of this, almost half were either one-off or prudent in nature, such as contingent buffer, built up, PCR ramped up from 63 to 75, and corporate NPA recognitions in quarter 1. The remaining provisions of less than 200 basis points were for business as usual as well as COVID slippages and should normalize going forward. We will also see 25 to 40 basis points recovery as well as from the prior slippages. Our SMA2 book as of March 21 was 31 basis points versus 39 basis points in December 2020. Our PAT profit after tax, continues to show a strong upward momentum of growing 12% quarter-on-quarter, even though we have made provisions conservatively. Profits for the quarter were at 926 crores. Our CRAR improved to 17.38% due to promoter warrant conversion and lower risk intensity quarter-on-quarter. RWA to asset ratio has fallen from 84% to 75% during the year. Overall, I think we have navigated well in otherwise turbulent and came stronger than before. Couple of rating agencies too upgraded their outlook ahead of the scheduled review. We have given an update on the progress on all key initiatives of PC5 in our investor presentation and can get into details in question and answers. We are now geared towards achieving our PC5 ambition while keeping an eye on the pandemic situation. Some of the focus areas for financial year 22 are as follows. Continued focus on collections. Our domains have outperformed the industry and corporate slippages have been small post cleanup. We however remain focused on ensuring healthy collections in the wake of second wave. Broad-basing loan growth. We have seen strong traction on disbursement in our areas of strength. We are gaining market share in our domain and these account for 45% of the loan growth. Growth will now be broad-based into the corporate where a realignment is almost over and secured retail products. Maintaining traction on liability. Deposits should lead the asset growth and will be driven by granular flows. We are investing in both physical and digital infrastructure. We have already crossed 500 virtual RM and will expand this further. We will add 200 branches during the year. New boosters like affluent, NRI, merchant acquisition are on track to scale up as per PC5 plan. Overall cost of deposits have been falling every quarter and we will do further rate cuts in a calibrated manner. Improving profitability of the franchise. Our operating profit margins have been strong even in the tough last year. The provisions are elevated due to the prudent approach and almost half of these are non-recurring in nature. As the provisions normalize going forward, it should start reflecting in earnings and ROE. These focus areas, of course, will be subject to how COVID plays out. We have seen collections only marginally lower in April so far. The disbursement too got impacted due to lockdowns in few states. However, the spread of second wave and policy response have been different compared to the first wave. The economy is operating at a higher level compared to the first lockdown, even in the most affected areas. Interstate trade movement is also allowed. Vaccination drive is accelerating every month and we will get further boost from higher participation by private sector. These factors coupled with strengthened balance sheet give us some comfort on executing a strategy of scaling up with sustainability. While we have lost a few weeks in this financial year due to COVID second wave, we remain committed to the PC5 growth ambition. We can now open this floor for question and answer.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may please press star, then 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star, then 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star, then 1. The first question is from the line of Abhishek Murarka from IIFL Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Good evening, everyone. So just a few questions. The first one is regarding retail growth outlook. So, of course, you said that, because of the second wave, a few weeks have been lost, but the outlook still remains pretty strong. But just in the backdrop of, relatively higher NPA, higher delinquencies and higher credit costs in retail, do you think it is prudent to grow in this year? How are you approaching it? And specifically, if you can comment on the disbursement outlook in MFI, whether that will continue or that has, been reined in for now because of the second wave. That's the first question.
So can I answer that first, Abhishek?
Yeah, sure, sir. Thanks.
We remain committed to our domain specialization. We said that, and if you look at our business, I think in the microfinance business, I think we have outperformed the industry, and our credit card, our gross NPA slippages are 3% of the book. We've just given that data. I think 100 districts are affected because of the state level lockdowns as of now, and then during these months, I think the accessibility is key on growth for microfinance business. So I think we will have to wait and watch. Having said that, I think we are reduced our ticket sizes. We will see when the lockdown, if it gets open and we are able to access these villages. But There are other districts where we are able to do businesses right now, and we will continue to do that business, and it's happening as we talk. Yeah, the growth may be a little bit shade lower, but I think that's something which we are willing to live with. Having said that, also you must remember that the rural economy is doing fantastically well because of the good crop seasons, the summer as well as the winter crop season, as well as there are good monsoons which are expected, which is also demonstrated by the tractor growth which is happening in the country. And I think we don't think that we will not be able to do disbursements in districts where there is a lockdown and we have no accessibility, because the center meetings cannot happen. But in other areas, we continue to do business because we are comfortable that this lockdown is not as severe as what the first lockdown is, and I said that in my previous comments. On the vehicle finance business, I think if you look at our book, only 35 to 40% of our book is now commercial vehicles, and the rest are scooter loans, car loans, tractors, and I think the dealer showrooms are closed as of now. And during these lockdowns, it is difficult to get the dealer to access clients because the dealer showrooms are closed. We are seeing, so we are waiting for the April month, maybe a very slow disbursement month, but I think slowly and steadily during the quarter we'll have to wait and watch as it comes back. In unsecured, we made our intention very clear. The book has degrown, and we continue to say that unsecured, while we will grow, we will be very cautious, and this will remain less than 5% of our retail book and of the overall book, and has remained less than 5% of our overall book.
So, quick question on unsecured. In credit cards, can you share the proportion of corporate cards that you would have?
We don't have. I think we do commercial card, and the commercial card is a very, very tiny business. I think it's very, very small for us because we do not push that business so much. In fact, we have 2.4% market share on personal cards of the business, and our spends are greater than 5% of the portfolio of the overall spend, and that is on the RBI side.
Okay, great. And sir, the second question.
Commercial card is a small business for us.
Okay, right. And the second question, sir, is basically on fees. So if we see the growth in retail fees, would that be roughly in line with the disbursement growth? So if retail fees have grown X, we can surmise that disbursement growth would also be X?
No, not at all. And that is the beauty about the retail fees. And of course, you can link that in the commercial vehicle segment or in the microfinance segment. But you can't link it in the consumer bank segment. In the consumer bank, you will see trade effects, you will see general banking, you will see distribution fees. They are not linked to any asset growth of the business.
Okay, sure. And just finally, I was squeezing in one more. In terms of yields, now the sequential increase in yields, is it just an outcome of asset mix change, or is there something else over there which has led to the yields going up, both in corporate and retail?
So Abhishek, last quarter we had this reversal of 185 crores, as you recollect. So that's the main driver.
Oh, okay. Got it. Right. Thank you, and all the best for the quarter.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jai Mundra from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, if you on the retail slippages, so if I were to look at this quarter and the previous quarter, that is effectively most of the full year. So it shows that the 16 billion and around 21 billion, so roughly around 35-36 billion is the retail slippages. If you can break that up into various products.
Yeah, so let me give you the sector-wise slippages, and I think it is very important. I think on the vehicle finance business, we had a pro forma of 502 crores, and we have incremental slippages of 687 crores during the quarter. I think when I must give this clarification, I think what has happened, the Honorable Supreme Court lifted its stay on the classifications of account on NPA on March 24th. Some of these clients did feel that that they would get classified as NPA post that only, or the DPD counter will start post that. And I think we actually followed the IRAC norms and we classified them as an NPA, and as a consequence, they moved into NPA. 25% of this portfolio is in 30 or 60 DPD, less than 60 DPD today, and I think that is the reason. The second thing which we did is, on the personal vehicle portfolio, personal vehicle side, which is scooter or car loan, we did not offer any restructuring. As of when we were convinced that the restructuring is not required in this segment, and we rather take a hit, and if a client comes back, and I think we will go through the recovery process, and that is the way we wanted to do that, and that is one of the reasons why the flows are a little higher. On the secured retail side, I think there was incremental in quarter 4 of 226 crores. This came from business banking as well as the LAP portfolio, and that unsecured retail was 383 crores, which came from cards, PL, business loans, and I think that was the portfolio which came. And MFI, which is the micro, is 298 crores, which was there in quarter 4. So that's the incremental slippages on quarter 4. Is it? You get?
Yeah, that's helpful, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second question is, sir, of this portfolio, as you have said that, maybe you had said that the things are improving and the situation is mainly impacted in some 100 districts. But out of these 4-5 key drivers of slippages, where would you be more confident in terms of the slippages having peaked, and where you would be slightly more watchful?
So I think we have to be watchful because we don't know how COVID-2 will play out. So I don't have a crystal ball to say how COVID-2 will play out and how it will affect the business. Having said that, I continue to remain very confident about my domain specialization businesses. Whether it's diamond, whether it's vehicle finance, or whether it's microfinance. I also am very, very comfortable on my large corporate business and the corporate side, because I think we've seen the actual slippage on the corporate side incremental for the quarter is only 336 crores. If you go and see the data, and you would have seen the gross NPA data, you will see the whole accelerator. It's only 336 crores, and our corporate book has started performing very, very well.
All right. And sir, on slide 14, we have this chart which shows the rating breakup. But somehow, it would have been even more useful if you can tell the absolute amount, in whichever form, because it is very difficult to compute the numbers, that how much is BB and below, or, maybe BBB, how much is sitting. We have qualified that now we are cutting down on BBB. But what is the number as of now? If you have that, maybe ballpark number will also help in absolute amount.
So I can only tell you that our A-rated book and above has improved by 500 basis points during last year. So that's the number which I can tell you, that we are focusing, and our business disbursements are moving towards in that direction which we said. Of course, we will do BBB rated book because our diamond business continues to do on the BBB rated book, and so I think on the BB I can tell you either we've improved or remained stable.
So it has slightly come down from 6% to 5.8%. And if you look at the more chunky exposures, we have given a disclosure in the investor presentation, wherein the BBB exposures have come down by 13%. It's an index number. Our top 20 exposures, funded and non-funded put together, has come down by 16%. And the duration of the book, greater than 3 years, has come down by 24%. And the composition of the fees, I think we mentioned it in the opening remarks as well, is largely composed of trade and FX. And the proportion of investment banking and the episodic type of fees has substantially come down. So all the vectors are moving in the right direction, and sure we will continue that momentum. And just to give you a sense of the disbursements, in the large corporate book, in the full year, the A and above rated clients, we had 81% of disbursements were A and above, and in the last quarter, 95% were A and above.
Right. Right, and just clarification, this 5.8% is a percentage of corporate loan, or this is a percentage of exposure, I mean, meaning fund, non-fund, everything put together? Yeah, I said so. I was just asking, Sanjay sir, this 5.8% is, I mean, what is the denominator? Is this the corporate advances, or this is corporate exposure, or the entire bank? I mean,
Yeah, this is 5.8 is of the corporate exposure, funded plus non-funded. And therefore it would be a much smaller part of the bank.
right.
And I think, as you are well aware, there is, of that 5.8, there would be approximately a little over 1/3, which is accounted for by one telecom account. And I think when we see some progress, this number is going to dramatically come down.
Right, sir. And the last question from my side is the clarification. I think on the restructuring book, in the opening remarks, sir had mentioned that 60% is vehicle and 17% is non-vehicle retail. But I think the 1800, I mean, just to confirm, how does that tie up with the slippages and the consequent restructuring and upgrade? So this 1600 must be sitting in the restructuring as well, right?
Part of that, yeah, you're right. Part of the one slipped has also got upgraded, restructuring. So you're asking one corporate large account of 650 crores. It was in the downgrade, then it got upgraded also because it's in OTR. Because it was a technical slippage during the quarter till the OTR was implemented. Correct.
Right. So what is the corporate restructured number then?
See, we just told you the corporate restructured number is about 654 crores.
Yeah, so that is the confusion. So ideally this number should be around 1,000, 1,100 or higher number, right? Because
there is another number of 300 crores which is awaiting the OTR resolution because it's going through the process, and I think the OTR approval has already come. Yeah, and it will get upgraded this quarter from the NPA.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kunal Shah from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead. Kunal Shah from ICICI Securities, please unmute your line from your side. Kunal Shah from ICICI Securities, your line is unmuted. As there's no response, we take the next question from the line of Nishant Shah from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I had a couple of questions on the card business. So earlier in the call, you mentioned that the share of corporate or commercial cards is very little. Could you still just explain some of these conflicting data points? Like if I look at the RBI data, the monthly data which comes in, the average spend per transaction for you works out to something like 7,000 to 8,000. This is like almost
clearly. I can't hear you clearly. I think your voice is breaking.
Is this better now? Hello?
Yeah.
So just on this credit cards business, if I look at the RBI data, like the spend or like the transaction size for each of the credit card spends, it works out to something like 7,000 to 8,000 rupees, right? Versus the industry average being somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. So what explains the significantly higher kind of spend per card, spend per transaction rather? I would have assumed this would have been a function of the corporate cards business being a larger share.
Corporate card contribution to spends is not more than 150 to 200 crores. So you can back that out if you want to. I think the real value for us is if we have fee paying cards, we don't have any free cards. Not more than 3% of the book is free cards. That is number one. Number two, if you look at our portfolio towards premium cards, I think it will be higher than the industry on the premium cards. And that is the reason why we are different on the industry. Of course, and the third reason is 75 to 78% of our portfolio is self-employed business. And that is a differentiator. Of course, there are risks associated with it, but it's also a differentiator because our spends are higher. Our revolve rates are around 54 to 56% now. And I think our ROA on this business, in spite of these losses, last year was about 3 to 3.5%, and I think in good times it can even give 6 to 7%.
Understood, sir. And what would be the proportion of like travel within the total spend?
How much would be the travel?
Yeah, I don't have that much of data. I can put you to my card expert. I don't have category-wise spend on the data, but I can put you to my card expert and he can help you because I don't have that data right now. If I give you something, it will be guess estimate.
Perfect. Okay, and just one last related question. Would you be open to any inorganic opportunity in the card business?
I've always said that we've always acquired businesses which are complementary to our businesses and ROA accretive. We are very keen to evaluate opportunities which add value and are accretive to our businesses. As we said, unsecured business is less than 5% of our business. But if we get salaried customers and category A class customers, as a consequence, we will be open to an acquisition, provided it meets all the criteria which we have laid down, which is accretive to our ROA, accretive to our customer base, and that's where we will, the right customer base, and that's where we will evaluate the options. And of course, the right pricing.
Perfect, sir. Thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Bhavnani from White Oak. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. My question pertains to the microfinance book. I just wanted to double check. You said the slippages in the microfinance book for the full year were 3%. Did I hear you correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely
and
right.
Yeah. So 3% as of the denominator would be FY20 closing book, right? And the slippages would be...
You can see it on the... It's about 25,000 crores and it's available in the investor presentation.
Great.
Our overall flows were 473 plus 298 crores. Okay. Quarter 4 is 298 and quarter 3 when the performer was 473 crores.
Okay, wonderful. And sir, you also mentioned that 81% of our microfinance book is post the lockdown. So we have run down a significant part of the book and a lot of fresh loans have been issued. So,
correct, and that happens in every microfinance business. The tenors are short. So what happens to the book, and we've already run the 12 months. So what had to come has come. Of course, there will be something which will keep on coming. I can't say that how the COVID, but it runs down in 12 months. Every microfinance book actually runs down. So the runoff factor is very high in microfinance.
If I can add one more
follow-up question on that. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Sir, what percentage of our microfinance customers would have opted for a top-up or net-off loan?
So we have a program for top-up, but I think it is very selective and we don't do it. We first make sure that the client has repaid a book and there is a gap before we do any fresh disbursement. We follow that as a process. We don't, because it can be evergreening of the book. We are very careful about evergreening, and that is why Bharat Financial stands out against the others. We do not go and start giving top-up. We want the client to fully pay the loan and then wait for our cooling period before we start doing fresh disbursements. This has been our strategy. This has been the philosophy of Bharat Finance.
Great, sir. So, sir, do you have a figure handy as to what percentage of clients would have been given this top-up or net-off loan option?
I don't know. I can check it up with Bharat. I don't think that it will be too much. Maybe 600 crores of book is there, 500 crores. There is nothing else. And that too, it has been given to clients, who have an ability to pay issue. That's the book which we have.
Great, sir.
Not much. 1% or 2%
Mm-hmm.
of the book. But it's not evergreening. That's all I want to tell you.
Sir, that's very helpful. 1-2% kind of figure is very encouraging and it shows great discipline on your part. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mahesh MB from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Hey, hi. Congratulations on a great set of results. Just a couple of questions from my side. One is, given the situation of the loan book from an asset quality perspective, how are you now positioned for next year in terms of growth? That's number one. Second one is, how have you now progressed on the deposit rates, and how do you see the convergence happening with the frontline banks out there?
Can you, Mahesh, repeat the second question? I just missed it. Sorry.
On the deposit rates that you have right now, you can see a pretty good flow, both coming on current account, savings account, as well as term deposits. Do you think you can take a slightly more aggressive stance on cutting deposit rates further?
So what's the space, Mahesh? That's all I can tell you. I committed last quarter that we'll drop the rate. We dropped it. Now what's the space? I concur with you right now that I think we can look at easing of deposit rates in certain segments, because I think we've already dropped 50 basis points. I think the time for transaction account dropping, specifically in the savings account side, has come up, and I think you will see some dropping in rates. And I've always said, Mahesh, one thing, that we will be about 50 to 75 basis points higher than the best in class in the industry. That you must have it in your mind, because we're still growing retail. So that's going to happen. So that's one. On the growth.
Financial year 22.
See, Mahesh, as of now, I'm not going to change my PC5 ambition, because I feel that the country will, this fear psychosis or the saying that everything is going wrong, I don't agree. I think, yes, we have issues, and I think the country will get out of it. And in my opinion, what we did when the COVID 1.0 was out, I think, yes, there are learnings, but we came out of it very fast, and there was a pent-up demand, we saw the movement in the book. I think, in my view, I think we have to wait and watch. I don't have a crystal ball to give you the right figure, but I think there is an opportunity in this market, specifically in our domain specialization, specifically in the large corporate book, and I think you add in the SME side, and I think we will capitalize on the opportunities and we will not let go of our market share in the domain specialization, and we will not let go of our strategy on the large corporate towards working capital and A-rated paper. We will not lose deals at any cost.
Perfect.
Of course, the investment banking business will suffer, and you've seen the results. We have slowed down that business, and I think that's bound to happen during these times.
Sorry, just one clarification. In this adjustment that you're doing on the corporate side, you think there is further room for the reduction in your loan book yields on the corporate side?
See, the only thing I can say, Mahesh, when you get into working capital and and what we've grown also, see, when you see the book, you're seeing net of sell-off, which we've done 9,000 crores. It's not that we've not grown. So that is part of the run rate. And the working capital loan were going at a very competitive pricing, and it will continue to go at competitive pricing. What you are seeing is, you've got to see the corporate in a different way, because the fee business of the corporate and the trade effect, as well as the transaction banking fees, have suddenly started showing up on the corporate banking. And I think our ability to structure it well has led. Also, I believe the way we are playing the game, I don't think we will see the wave which we've seen earlier. These are granular disbursements. They are not bulky disbursements. We are not giving it at higher tenor. So like Sanjay said, our tenor has reduced dramatically, and I think you will continue to see that book. Of course, we may lose a bit of yield, and that's driven out of what the pricing in the market. But I can tell you, a cost of deposits will also fall. Secondly, if the movement is happening, and I've said always, we've already at 55 to 57% retail, and I think we have very good interest yielding business, and we will continue to be, and I've always said, we will continue to be at a NIM of 4.15 to 4.25. If I just grow my yield on the consumer, we can be 4.5, 4.75. The corporate bank is where I want to balance the book and get the franchise. Having said that, I must also say that I'm evaluating mortgage business because I think I want to balance my secured book more and more in the retail side. So we will evaluate a mortgage business also by second or third quarter of this year.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we take the last question from the line of Anand Bhavnani from White Oak Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, with respect to microfinance, what would be the top 3 states for us? And what would be the percentage of book coming from them, from those states?
I don't have the answer. Emma, can you answer this question? Shalabh, are you there?
Yeah, Shalabh.
Yeah. So, hi, good evening. The top 3 states are Bihar, Orissa, and West Bengal. All put together, the 3 states, I think that was the question, right?
Yeah. So, what will be the individual percentage exposure after the 26,000 crore book in each of these states?
Yeah, all put together. But
Hello? I can't hear you.
We don't give such granular data on the book at all. I think we've told you the states. We don't give granular data on each of these states as of now.
Yeah, Sumant, we are not giving the details.
All together combined, all 3?
At a very broad level, we have state-wise caps, district-wise caps, even branch-wise caps on the amount that we can lend. And
Can you give me the top 3 states together as a whole? How much do they contribute?
I think it will be about, if you can give that detail. Can you give that detail, Sumant?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
About 33-32%.
Okay, that's quite helpful. And when you speak about, our product, our key product would be a 2-year product. Is that right understanding in the microfinance space?
No. It's a 1-year product. Most of the people prefer 1-year product, and we give weekly, have weekly installments, so it's a 50-week installments. We do have 18-month product and 24-month product that we offer to people who are taking higher loan amounts greater than 30,000 and stuff like that. But anybody who's taking a loan than 30,000 is given a 1-year loan.
So what percentage of our book would be 1 year, 18 months, and 24 months, approximate split?
I don't think we can give that number. I think we don't give those numbers. We've just told you that we have about 81% of our book has got churned during this year, and we have a collection percentage of about 99% in that churn book.
Sure.
So you can compute that.
Yeah. Sure, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Kapalia for closing comments.
First of all, my apologies again to have kept you waiting. This was not deliberate. This was a technical issue at our end, and it took time to resolve it. Having said that, I think we are committed towards, we have become more resilient, much more stronger in our business, and I think that's the message which I wanted to give. I think if the COVID-2 plays out, we are committed towards pivoting towards growth. We still are committed towards the PC5 strategy and growth plans, and we believe that India will come out of this sooner or later. Having said that, if you have any further questions, whether you need more details on microfinance, I think we can do a one-on-one and get into details to each of these questions, and Sanjay, me or Indrajit are available at any point of time to answer any of your issues. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of IndusInd Bank Limited, we hereby conclude this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.